heartfelt congratulations to Professor Eric Hanushek for the 2021 Yidan Prize for Education Research. The vision of Charles Chen Yidan is to create a better world through education. And the mission of the Yidan Prize is to change the world by acknowledging the change makers. I don't know anyone who's contributed more to making education count and to move the frontiers of education through research than Hanushek. He has that special sense for the policy questions of our times. And he's invested his life in ensuring that research evidence makes a real difference to policy and practice on the ground. Eric, a senior fellow at the Hoover Institute of Stanford University, has been the architect of the field of the economics of education. And the many connections that you can now see between the fields of economics and education, they're to a large degree the result of his research, but also of his personal impact. You know, every day, countless practitioners work very hard to improve the quality of life. At the same time, policymakers need to make tough spending choices between education and the many other priorities placed on them. Well, Eric Hanushek has been able to connect those two worlds and to link improvement in the quality of education to improvement in the long-run economic and social progress. So he's given researchers the tools to reimagine the teachers, the spaces, the time, the technology to leverage better learning rather than just, doing more of the same. At the same time, he's given policymakers reasons to prioritize investing in the long-run well-being of societies over just, facilitating consumption today. And also how to think about, how to manage, how to finance their education systems to improve learning outcomes. He's showing policymakers in advanced economies that spending more provides no guarantee for better outcomes. And at the same time, he gives leaders in the developing world hope that they can advance economically if they make the right policy choices in education. The message is that the world is and need not be divided between rich and well-educated and poor and badly educated nations. His evidence and insights that it's the quality, not the quantity of education that counts has transformed both education research and policy, and it's also framed the Sustainable Development Goal 4 on education around the quality of learning outcomes, rather than just the number of years children spent in school, which had been the narrative of the Millennium Development Goals before that time. But that's just, one piece of his work. In fact, Eric has shown us that rigorous economic analysis can be applied to an amazing range of education policy areas, from class size to school accountability, to the lifetime payoffs from vocational versus general education, to the importance of evaluating teacher effectiveness. In fact, his path-breaking work on teacher value added and the importance of teacher quality has led to a whole class of new research methods for how we evaluate individual teacher performance, always with an eye on student learning gains. And again, that wasn't research in the ivory tower, but it's actually inspired countless countries around the world to develop better and fairer mechanisms for rewarding teacher performance and fostering meritocracy. So Eric's work changed the types of data that are being used, the empirical approaches to analysis, but also the questions that policymakers and researchers ask around the world. I guess the best measure of the relevance and quality of research is always whether it's transformative, rigorous, and replicable enough to make a genuine contribution to the cumulative evidence base. And then whether it has a real impact on policy. Eric's research production over the past decades is unmatched on both dimensions. His work has consistently created paths of scientific inquiry where results can be tested and verified and where knowledge becomes cumulative. And no other researcher on the economics of education has a citation record as large than Eric. What is most amazing is that Eric never rests on his laurels. He keeps pushing the frontiers. Today, while some are looking these days for artificial intelligence to replace teachers and others are looking to protect teachers from artificial intelligence, Eric is joining Stanford's new human-centered AI initiative to produce cutting-edge research on how artificial intelligence can transform education and super empower teachers. But there's something that perhaps fewer people know about Eric, and that is his incredible generosity and spirit, his deep sense of public service, and his commitment to the next generation of researchers. He has this magic grace, this amazing talent to give young staff extraordinary challenge, and they always meet them with joy. However busy, he's always ready to listen, always ready to advise his students, always ready to respond to that extra email. And he always does it with humor and the human heart. He's really tireless in devoting time and energy to funding and launching new institutions that attract highly trained young economists, and it can scale up and then sustain his research impact and his network. His global research laboratory at the University of Munich that focuses on how institutional and policy differences in education systems affect their performance has become a magnet for talented young researchers from all over the world. Last but not least, he's deeply committed to closing the gap between the rich and poor parts of the world through transforming education. And when he saw how the shortage of locally based researchers has become such a constraint to the design, the adoption and implementation of effective education policy in Africa, he committed once again to use his expertise, his networks and his influence to build and strengthen research capacity in sub-Saharan Africa. His Research Fellows program is going to boost the careers of talented young African economists working on education in the region by connecting them with leading researchers around the world. And that's just another initiative that reflects Eric's lifelong commitment to two ideas. The design of effective policies needs high quality, rigorous research. And researchers really need to engage with policymakers to create a better world through education.